Have you ever wondered who the Vikings were and where they came from? These Norse warriors hailed from the rugged lands of Scandinavia, present-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. But the Viking identity was far more complex than just the fearsome raiders of popular imagination. The Vikings were a diverse society, with roles that extended beyond warfare. They were farmers, tending to their crops and livestock in the harsh northern climate. They were traders, navigating the seas with their remarkable longships, engaging in commerce across vast distances. And yes, they were warriors, their martial prowess etched into historical and mythological texts. Their seafaring skills were truly exceptional. The construction of their iconic longships demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of naval architecture. These vessels, with their shallow draft and symmetrical design, were perfect for both ocean voyages and river incursions. The Vikings were not just raiders and warriors. They were also traders, explorers, and settlers, a society with a rich culture and a thirst for exploration. This multifaceted Viking identity laid the groundwork for their expansive reach and enduring legacy. Now, imagine a peaceful coastal village waking up to the sight of a fleet of Viking longships. What tactics did these invaders use? The Vikings, with their fearsome reputation, were not simply brute force warriors. They were also cunning strategists, employing a variety of tactics that made them formidable foes. One of their most significant strategies was the use of longships. These vessels, sleek and swift, were the Vikings' ticket to their targets. With a shallow draft, they were able to navigate both open seas and narrow riverways, allowing them to launch surprise assaults on unsuspecting settlements. The element of surprise was indeed a crucial part of the Viking raiding strategy. Often striking at dawn, they would catch their enemies off guard, capitalizing on the chaos and confusion. This tactic was not only effective in battle, but also instilled a deep-seated fear in their targets, creating a psychological advantage. Their choice of targets also played a crucial role in their raiding strategy. The Vikings had a knack for identifying wealthy monasteries and prosperous towns. These locations were rich in treasures and resources, making them prime targets for plunder. Moreover, monasteries were typically poorly defended, making them relatively easy pickings for the well-organized and ruthless Viking raiders. The Vikings also employed a hit-and-run tactic. They would swiftly attack, plunder, and then retreat before any substantial resistance could be mounted. This strategy ensured they could maximize their loot while minimizing their losses. But the Vikings were not just raiders. They were also traders and explorers. They would often establish trade routes and settlements in the regions they raided, further expanding their influence and reach. In essence, the Viking raiding strategy was a combination of speed, surprise, selection of lucrative targets, and the swift execution of their attacks. These tactics, coupled with their fierce warrior ethos, made the Vikings one of the most feared forces in the medieval world. Their innovative tactics and brutal efficiency made the Vikings a force to be reckoned with, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The Vikings' raids were far-reaching, but where did they strike most frequently? Let's delve into this era of relentless invasions, starting with the most significant one that marked the beginning of the Viking Age, the raid on Lindisfarne, a rich and undefended monastery on an isolated island off the northeast coast of England. The allure of wealth in such religious establishments made them prime targets for the Vikings. From England, the Vikings expanded their reach, crossing the Irish Sea to sack monasteries in Ireland. Monasteries weren't just spiritual hubs, but also centers of wealth, storing valuable items like gold, silver, and precious manuscripts, turning them into attractive targets for these Norse warriors. But the Vikings weren't all about plundering monasteries. They also targeted politically significant places. A notable instance is the Siege of Paris in the late 9th century. The Viking army, led by the legendary Rollo, laid siege to Paris, a city brimming with wealth and strategic importance. The siege marked a significant shift in their raiding pattern, from religious to political targets, further highlighting the Vikings' strategic acumen. The Vikings also targeted trade routes. For instance, they frequently raided the bustling commercial towns along the Volga and Dnieper trade routes, disrupting commerce and gaining control over these crucial economic lifelines. This not only enriched the Vikings, but also allowed them to exert influence over a vast area. From the coasts of England to the heart of France, from Irish monasteries to Russian trade routes, the Vikings' targets were varied and strategic. They sought wealth, strategic advantage, and control, choosing their targets with a keen understanding of the socio-political landscape of Europe. In essence, the Viking raids were not random acts of violence by seafaring marauders, but calculated moves by strategic warriors. Whether for the accumulation of wealth, the seizing of power, or the control of trade, their targets were chosen with precision and purpose. The Vikings left a lasting impact on the areas they raided, forever changing the course of history in these regions. Their raids, though brutal and terrifying, played a significant role in shaping the political and cultural landscape of medieval Europe. But what legacy did these Viking raiders leave behind? Their influence was far-reaching, spanning across continents and centuries, leaving an indelible mark on the cultures they encountered. The Vikings were not just raiders and plunderers, they were also settlers, traders, and explorers. Their impact was more than just physical, it was cultural, economic, and linguistic. In the areas they settled, the Vikings introduced new customs, traditions, and beliefs. They intermingled with local populations, contributing to the rich tapestry of cultures in these regions. For instance, in England their influence is still evident in place names, words, and even aspects of the legal system, a legacy of the Danelaw, a region of England under Viking control in the 9th and 10th centuries. Similarly, in France the region of Normandy bears the Vikings' imprint. Named after the Northmen who settled there, it became a powerful duchy, its rulers even ascending to the English throne in the 11th century. The Vikings also had a profound impact on economies. Their extensive trade network stretched from the icy shores of Greenland to the bustling markets of Byzantium, facilitating the movement of goods, ideas, and people. Their legacy is not confined to the past. It continues to shape modern societies, and their stories inspire us, reminding us of a time when the world was a vast, unexplored place filled with possibilities and perils. The Vikings' influence extended far beyond their time, shaping the cultures and societies of the lands they touched. The Vikings have been immortalized in popular culture, but how accurately do these portrayals reflect their raiding history? From the silver screen to the written word, Viking raids have been a captivating subject. The cinematic spectacle of Viking longships slicing through waves, warriors storming coastal settlements, and the inevitable clash of steel are scenes that have thrilled audiences worldwide. Television series and films often depict Vikings as ruthless marauders, while others portray them as explorers and traders. Literature too has its share of Norse tales, with sagas painting vivid pictures of Viking exploits. Yet, it's worth noting that these narratives can sometimes sway towards the realm of myth and exaggeration. In truth, Viking raids were strategic, often targeting wealthy monasteries and trade routes. Their reputation as brutal raiders does hold some truth, but it's also important to remember their roles as explorers and settlers. While popular culture has helped keep the memory of the Vikings alive, it's important to separate fact from fiction. Recent archaeological discoveries have shed new light on the Vikings and their raids. What have we learned? In the quiet corners of Scandinavia, archaeologists have unearthed treasures that offer fresh perspectives on the Viking era. From burial sites, rich with weapons and jewelry, we've learned about their belief in the afterlife and the significance they placed on warfare and wealth. Incredible finds, like the Oseberg ship, one of the most well-preserved Viking ships ever discovered, give us a glimpse into their masterful shipbuilding techniques and their knack for seafaring. Artifacts such as runestones and inscriptions reveal their language, beliefs, and even their sense of humor, adding depth to our understanding of their society. From the remnants of their coastal fortresses, we've gained insights into their strategic planning and defense mechanisms, adding another layer to their known raiding prowess. These discoveries continue to refine our understanding of the Vikings, painting a more detailed picture of their captivating history. So, the Viking raiders were more than just fearsome warriors. They were skilled seafarers, strategic plunderers, and their raids left an indelible mark on European history. From their mysterious origins to their tactical invasions, their impact has reverberated through centuries, shaping the narrative of the Middle Ages. Their portrayal in media and recent archaeological discoveries continue to fuel our fascination with these enigmatic Norsemen. Their story is a testament to their daring spirit and historical significance, a tale of invasion, plunder, and enduring influence.